Hello everyone, good morning. I'm glad to welcome you all to ManageEngine's free training on OpManager MSP. Before we get started, please give us a yes in the comment box if you can clearly hear me and view the presentation. I think we are good to go. I would like to inform you that we do have a team of panelists to answer your questions. Please feel free to raise your queries on the chat panel and we will get back to you. The recorded version of this webinar will be emailed to you by tomorrow along with the presentation material. Let me introduce myself. I'm Gladius, product expert at ManageEngine. I'm really delighted to be your presenter for this free training. Here is the free training schedule of this free training series. The training is split into two parts. Today, we will discuss about onboarding and monitoring of multi-client networks using OpManager MSP. And in our second session, that is happening on 13th October, is about client network visualization and fault management. This training series is happening in two different time zones. One is at 6 a.m. GMT and the other is at 11 a.m. EDT. Let us look at the agenda for today. We will briefly talk about OpManager MSP, what it does, and what its basic features are. Then, system requirements, installation of OpManager MSP. Followed by that, we'll look into how to onboard clients in OpManager MSP and how to perform device discovery. Finally, we will talk about performance monitoring of your client network devices. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Before getting into OpManager MSP, let's have a quick outline about managed service providers. As we all know, MSPs remotely handle multiple client networks so that the clients can focus on developing their business rather than worrying about network issues and outages. Managed service market is expected to reach more than $393 billion by 2028. Service providers manage several client networks simultaneously, meaning they spot, diagnose, and fix network issues of one client's network without letting the other networks go down. This sounds like a tedious task. That's why it's important to have a feature-rich tool like OpManager MSP to back you up. So, what is OpManager MSP? OpManager MSP is an end-to-end client network monitoring solution that allows service providers to keep track of your client's network performance 24/7. With OpManager MSP by your side, you can easily foresee any kind of potential mishaps or malfunctions and fix them proactively. And it helps you gain a single pane of view over your multi-client infrastructure. Default HTTPS mode of communication between Central and your probes ensure security. You can perform various multi-client requests like changing the polling interval or updating the thresholds for monitoring in bulk. You can use OpManager MSP to monitor a wide variety of client network devices such as VMwares, Zen servers, Nutanix devices, storage devices, etc. You can also deploy client-specific views in addition to the global view and ensure that you have in-depth visibility into your multi-client infrastructure. Next in the queue, we have architecture of OpManager MSP. OpManager MSP serves the needs of every managed service provider with its probe central architecture. Let me explain how central and probe works. The central server acts as a unified console which synchronizes data with multiple probe servers. The central server is designed to provide network visibility across locations, consolidate and report the health of multiple remote networks. The probe server acts as a polling engine. It monitors the routers, switches, firewalls, servers, and other networking devices for faults and performance. It generates availability, health, and performance reports, and the probe server periodically synchronizes data with the central server to stay updated. This is all about architecture. Let's now move to software and hardware requirements. We require an Intel Xeon 3.5 GHz, 4 cores or 8 threads or higher processor. OpManager MSP supports both PG-SQL and MS-SQL databases. PG-SQL comes bundled with the product, and we need a hard disk with a minimum space of 100 GB for central and a minimum of 40 GB space for the probe setup, and the RAM requirement is a minimum of 16 GB. OpManager MSP can be installed in both Windows and in Linux operating systems. These system requirements mentioned are the minimum requirements for the specified number of devices. The sizing requirements may vary based on the root, and you can visit the link provided at the bottom of the slide for more information on the requirements. The presentation PPT will be sent to you via email as we discussed earlier. In addition to meeting the software and hardware requirements, we also have a list of port requirements to be met. The protocols such as WMI, CLI, SNMP, TCP, etc. for monitoring and device data collection requires these ports mentioned here to be open for easier installation of the tool and to seamlessly monitor your client network devices. Again, you can visit the link provided at the bottom of the slide for more information on the port requirements. So once the hardware and software requirements are met and the required ports are open, you are all set to install OpManager MSP. The first step is to download the OpManager MSP Central exe file from the website and run the installation wizard. Provide your location, and as discussed a few slides back, you can choose either PG-SQL or MS-SQL as your preferred database. No additional configuration is needed for PG-SQL, whereas to configure MS-SQL, follow the steps provided in our help page and ensure the port for MSP Central is not in use by any other process or service. Followed by installing OpManager MSP's central setup, let's see how to onboard our client's network via probe. The next step is to download the probe from the official OpManager MSP website, or you can also download it from the central UI. OpManager MSP allows you to add any number of client networks to your central and multiple probes to a single client. You can add the customer and the probe details on the central UI without much effort. The other important step which has to be done during the time of installation is to download the probekey.zip file from the web client and deploy it in the probe setup. The probe key is unique for every client. This is to have a secured communication between the probe and central. You can choose between PG-SQL or MS-SQL database. But if you choose MS-SQL for your central setup, the same option has to be chosen for the probe setup as well. You can toggle between multiple customer networks you have added easily with the help of drop-down option provided in Central UI and access the preferred data. Let me take you to the setup and show that to you. So this is where you select customer and probes. And to add customers or probes, you have to go to settings, configurations. You'll find customers option. You can add new customers here and probes over here. And once you are done creating a probe, a probe key will be generated, which can be used to deploy it in your setup for secured communication. As I said earlier, each probe key generated is unique. Let's go back to our presentation and continue. Once the central and probes are installed, we can move forward to the next step, that is user management. So, user management in OpManager MSP allows you to create individual user profiles for the members of your team and provide them with the corresponding access and privileges. This helps you to avoid the use of an external identity management tool, and it allows you to grant or revoke access and set up security restrictions, allowing you to essentially enforce role-based access control. There are three user roles in OpManager MSP, namely administrator, operator, and custom user. The administrator role has unrestricted access to perform read or write operation in OpManager MSP. They can add or remove devices, troubleshoot issues, change configurations, and more without any limitations. On the other hand, an operator has read-only restricted access in OpManager MSP. They can be granted further access by the administrator. You might be wondering, what are custom users and who are they? Now, a custom user is someone whose level of access varies across different modules in OpManager MSP. The admin can set up a custom user role and provide different levels of access, such as read or write, read only, or no access. For example, you can give a user access to only discover devices, meaning the person can only add devices into OpManager MSP. And for some other, you can give view reports with read-only access so that the person can only view those particular probes report, and so on as per your requirement. In addition to user roles, OpManager MSP also allows you to specify user types, wherein you can select if the user is a local user, an Active Directory user, or a radius user. Let's go to our setup. Go to settings, user management under general settings. And here is where you create new users, define their roles, and also we have password policy. A password policy is a set of rules designed to enhance security by encouraging users to employ strong passwords. This is another possible defense against password guessing and by enabling account lockout after the specified number of valid or failed login attempts. The account will be locked out. Let's get back to our presentation. Post the client user management setup. Let's discover client networks. We will see how to discover devices in client's network in our probe setup. Before we do that, we have to get our devices and their credential list ready, which is essential for the discovery process. OpManager MSP can use the credentials during the discovery process and add the devices successfully. In OpManager MSP, we can create client-specific credential libraries and run credential validation tests now and then using the test credential option. We will take a quick look at the setup and understand how it's done. Select a probe. Under Discovery, Credentials, and Add Credential. Select the respective protocol based on the device you're going to monitor and create the required credentials and have them ready before the discovery process. We support SNMP versions V1, V2, V3 and WMI for Windows-specific devices, SSH for Telnet, CLI, and more. VMware credentials for virtual devices. The credentials created have to be customer or probe specific. We have test credential option here. If the credentials are wrong or expired after discovering the device, OpManager MSP will not be able to access the device and hence cannot pull the data for monitoring. This restricts OpManager MSP from monitoring the particular device. However, the status polling of the device will continue using ICMP. To avoid this, you can periodically run test credentials to make sure the credentials are up to date. Once the credentials are configured and ready, the next step is to discover devices in your client's network. Let's see how we do that. This network discovery process in OpManager MSP can be done in just a few steps, and that saves us a lot of time and effort. Not only that, OpManager MSP gives you multiple options to discover your client's network, making the process much more feasible. You can take advantage of client discovery feature to discover devices and discovery rule engine. We have interface discovery as the name suggests. We can discover interfaces with the help of that feature. We can schedule discovery and also we can get a detailed view on the discovered devices via reports. Then we have device templates. Why don't we dig a little deeper into each of these listed features? The first topic is client device discovery. We can discover devices in bulk by specifying the IP range. We can also import from AD or CSV files. Besides this, we also have dedicated device addition option to directly add storage devices, virtual machines, etc. OpManager MSP also has a device filter option which lets you discover only a specified set of devices, leaving out the rest. That is, with the help of powerful add or ignore mechanisms, we can choose the devices which have to be added or ignored, as in some scenarios, we might not need all the devices to be discovered and monitored. Let's have a quick look at our tool. Go to Discovery. Add device or server feature will let you add a single device, and to add multiple devices in bulk, go to Network Discovery. You can choose how you want to discover your devices, either by providing an IP range, subnets, you can import from AD or CSV files. You can add credentials here in case if you miss to add it in the beginning, and you can choose to ignore devices if you want to ignore a particular device. After a successful discovery, up next we have Discovery Rule Engine. Discovery Rule Engine is one of the key features that makes discovering and monitoring devices a lot easier for an MSP. Let me give you an example. When your admin wants to associate notification profile to all the routers in your client's network, it would be tedious, isn't it? With Discovery Rule Engine, that problem can be resolved. Notification profile will be automatically associated to the required device by setting up a rule while discovering the device. All the discovery rules with its status as enabled will be applied for discoveries. Let's see how we could achieve the same using our setup. Go to settings. Under network discovery, you will find discovery rule over here. This rule has been already created. To create a new one, click on add role, give a name, description, criteria, and you can select actions. And this is how you create a new rule. And after creating a discovery rule, make sure the status is enabled, and only then these rules will be automatically applied to the devices. Let's go back to our presentation. Followed by discovery rule engine, we have interface discovery. OpManager MSP has a dedicated interface discovery. This feature lets you specify device and interface criteria. You provide conditions and discover the interfaces in just a few minutes. Also, we have a feature which lets you identify and discover the interfaces that are connected to a particular device. You can decide which are all the interfaces that needs monitoring and leave out the rest, as not all the interfaces require monitoring. Let's have a quick view of this feature on the setup. Go to settings again, interface discovery. Mention the criteria here and discover the interfaces effortlessly. Moving on to the next topic, device templates. What is a device template? Device template is nothing but preloaded template which with device details such as device type, category, monitoring interval, vendor details, and more. With device templates by your side, OpManager MSP can classify a device under a specific device type, and it will automatically be mapped to its respective device template, which reduces a lot of config time. The necessary performance monitors to devices will automatically be associated during the process of device discovery itself. With this feature, you can also make a configuration change and apply it to several devices at once. Essential performance monitors are also available based on the object identifiers provided by their vendors and can be associated with the devices easily. There are about 11,500 device templates in OpManager MSP. You can also customize your own device template as well or modify the existing ones. We will have a quick glance at the product to see how it's done. Go to settings, device template under configuration. These are the inbuilt device templates. You can add one here. Associate existing device templates with the devices. Let's get back to our presentation. Our next topic of this webinar is going to be network monitoring. After discovery, your client network devices, the most important thing any MSP is required to do is monitor the network for any performance degradation. In OpManager MSP, we have many options to let you perform monitoring seamlessly. The main aim of monitoring client network performance is to ensure the client experiences no network downtime. Monitoring network performance helps you anticipate potential outages and address network problems proactively. OpManager MSP has a huge inventory of predefined monitors. And of course, it allows you to monitor your client's network devices and interfaces irrespective of its vendor. It also helps you monitor the devices in bulk by associating threshold violation based monitors, meaning whenever there is any violation of the threshold value set, a notification will be sent to you. Apart from the default monitors present in OpManager MSP, you can always create your own custom monitors to suit each of your client's requirement. OpManager MSP also has agent-based monitoring. Agent-based monitoring lets you collect data on critical metrics of your devices periodically with the help of an agent. An agent is a small, lightweight software installed on devices. It monitors the devices round the clock and updates their status instantly to the server in real time. This methodology reduces the load on the server and helps improve its performance. Let's get a little deeper and understand how every monitor works. Alright, the first monitor we are going to look at is the availability monitor. Availability is one of the basic and fundamental requirements of all network administrators. This is an essential parameter that lets you check the health of your devices, which is crucial to monitor any infrastructure. This efficient tool will help you monitor the health status of your client network devices using ICMP or TCP or SNMP protocols. The availability is monitored frequently at regular intervals. You can also set thresholds for packet loss and response time. These are the devices. You can select a device for which you would like to view the performance. Under summary, you will be able to view this details, and this page is commonly called as device snapshot page. You can easily identify the data on availability, packet loss, response time, device summary, and more. Moving on to the next slide, we have performance monitors. OpManager MSP's predefined performance monitors helps you to take control of your client's devices by setting up device-specific monitors to drill down on any particular aspect of a device that you want to monitor. OpManager MSP can monitor various devices that are reachable from OpManager MSP server and any parameter that are configured with SNMP credential. For example, when it comes to routers, OpManager MSP is capable of monitoring parameters such as active IP sessions, buffer failures, IP routing discards, CPU memory usage, etc. Likewise, for switches, OpManager MSP monitors the memory usage, utilization, and more. This tool is also capable of monitoring L3 devices as well, like your firewall and its parameters, like firewall CPU usage, concurrent users, active VPN tunnels, and much more. Printers have evolved in such a way that they can be connected through a network. With MSPs, you can monitor printed parameters such as paper jam, toner levels, and so on. And to view the performance monitors, you can go to monitors, and this is where all the monitors will be displayed, and under performance monitors you'll be able to see the monitors that are added. Let's get back to our presentation. Now that we have understood how performance monitors work, let's go to our next topic. Virtual and Nutanix server performance monitoring. OpManager MSP provide intensive agentless virtual device monitoring to enable effortless performance management of your VMware devices. With OpManager MSP, you can monitor VM performance metrics like CPU ready time, CPU wait time, memory balloon, network, disk, data stored, etc. You can also monitor hardware metrics such as sensor, power, temperature, voltage, and more. OpManager MSP relies on VMware API protocol to accomplish this. We currently offer support for Dell and HP vendors, and this list is surely expanding. You can also monitor your client VMware events like any inventory changes. For example, VM being migrated from one VM to another and new host being connected, any new VMs being powered on or off. All such events can be captured. OpManager has capability of monitoring closely about 400 plus VMware events listed by VMware. Finally, arriving at the reports, we have exclusive reports for your virtual devices, and we also have sprawl dashboards which talks about idle, over, and underutilized devices. It also has their own virtual maps to show the connection considering all the virtual devices discovered. We will talk about dashboards in detail during our next part of the session on March 13th. Let's go to virtualization, and this is where all the virtual devices are that we've added will be listed, and VMware's. You can also view the reports of these virtual devices by going to virtual server reports. So this is all about virtual devices. Let's get back to our presentation, followed by virtual and Nutanix server performance monitoring. We have Windows and service monitoring. Any Windows service that runs in the background or any particular service can be monitored with this monitor. And in case those Windows services go down, you can automatically restart the service or restart the entire server with the help of OpManager MSP's Windows Service Monitoring. And then we have services monitors that are nothing but TCP port monitors. The main difference between Windows Service and Services Monitor is that Windows Service is running on the Windows Server directly, whereas the Service Monitor is going to check the TCP port's availability and check if the particular service is up or down and alert you accordingly. Followed by them, we have process monitoring. Process monitoring lets you keep a close eye on the CPU memory being used by the processors you are running. So you can monitor the current active process running on any machine. CPU, memory, and status of that process can also be monitored, such as whether a process is down or if it is up and running fine. You can set the thresholds for all your critical processes. And you can even kill any processes if they seem to be an unwanted one for OpManager MSP itself. You can go to device snapshot page. And this is where all the active processes will be displayed. And under monitors tab, you will find the process monitors that are associated with this particular device. Let's go back to our presentation. Next, we have script monitoring. Script template can be used to monitor a specific client metric for which you can't find a standard SNMP or WMA monitor. Let's say you wanted to monitor the expiry date of an SSL certificate that sits on your server. They can never be monitored with the help of SNMP. For those requirements, you can go ahead and use the script templates. You can write your own script in any of the languages like Python, VB, Perl, etc. And those scripts can be directly imported in the tool and executed to get results. These scripts can both be executed in local as well as remote machines. Output formats of these scripts should be in predefined model like the ones displayed here on the screen. And you can also find script templates under the monitoring tab, under the monitors tab. Followed by that, we will look into trap processor. OpManager MSP offers a comprehensive and scalable SNMP trap processing solution. OpManager MSP waits for SNMP traps from devices on the default port number 162. This can be changed as per your requirement. So it automatically acts as a trap receiver and based on the trap processors defined in OpManager MSP, the traps are processed and shown as alarms. So you can create rules to pass client's trap messages into meaningful alarms. Let's explore this feature. Under settings, you will find SNMP trap processor over here. You can add new SNMP trap processors here. These are the ones that are available in OpManager MSP. You can fill in you can fill in the details and provide the OID number if you know it, or you can also import it from MIB and other details like failure component name, message, and criteria. Let me explain what rearm criteria is. Say if warbind equals critical when the warbind is off to critical state. This particular trap processor will automatically be rearmed. View all the traps using trap view option, and you can also view the trap alarms over here. So this is all about trap processors. Another important feature that we have is syslog monitoring. We know syslogs are similar to trap processors. For the syslogs, we listen to default ports 514 and 519, which are UDP ports. These ports can also be configured according to your requirement. You can create syslog rules based on severity, name, etc. You can even forward syslogs to other NSM tools. You can check the rate of syslogs which is being received by OpManager MSP and also view syslogs that are being received by the tool at any point of time. Back to the setup. Go to settings. You will find syslog rules under monitoring. You can add new ones here. And visit syslog port and flow rate using these buttons. Let's get back to our presentation. Up next, we have files and folder monitoring feature. OpManager MSP also has the ability to monitor your client's files and folders. It helps you to understand the existence of files and folders. You can find out how long a particular file or folder has been sitting in a particular directory. You can also monitor shared folders. Size, count, and age of that file can also be monitored. Configure the thresholds to make sure that if that file or folder is exceeding a certain size, you can also get that limited. And you can even search for a particular string in the entire file and get notified if it's missing using agent. This is all about the feature. Next in the queue, we have event log monitoring. Talking about event log rules with OpManager MSP, one can monitor the program, security, and system even which happen on Windows devices. You can just gather the event ID, category, etc. from the native tool event viewer and create a rule in OpManager MSP to parse those events. You can monitor custom events using custom event logs. The level of severity for alarms can also be customized. To do that, go to settings again. Under monitoring, you'll find event log rules. You can add event log rules here. Next, we have storage server monitoring performance. So what are the storage metrics and how are the storage devices monitored? The feature we have got The features we have got for the storage devices are we monitor the management of RAID, tape library, and storage capacity forecasting. You get to monitor the FC switches in the storage department. OpManager supports all the vendors and their respective devices that are listed on the screen. Apart from this, we try our best to add more support for the storage devices with every release. Talking about reports, there is a dedicated report for storage monitoring. To know more about the list of storage devices supported in OpManager MSPs, visit our help page. If you have a new device, you can let us know and we'll work on supporting that as well. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at our next topic, WLC monitoring. Wireless LAN controller monitoring allows you to monitor WLCs across multiple vendors. This is another licensed module inside OpManager MSP that allows you to gain in-depth information on traffic usage, that is, the data transmitted via different wireless and wired network components, and their signal strength. Authorized and unauthorized Wi-Fi connections detected by your access points will be listed out as SSIDs and rogue devices. Detailed information on the health and availability of your access points and active clients across your network can be obtained. Besides all these capabilities, exclusive WLC reports are also available. Let's go to the UI and explore this feature. Go to wireless under network option. These are the wireless devices that are discovered, and you'll find all the details about this wireless access point over here in this device snapshot page. This marks the end of the session. Let me quickly summarize what we covered in today's session. First, we discussed what is OpManager MSP and how to install OpManager MSP. And then we discussed how to onboard clients using this powerful tool with its simplified client onboarding features. And followed by that, we discussed multi-client monitoring. This part of this free training is on March 13th. These are the topics that we are going to discuss during that session. And this session is open for queries. Please post your queries in the chat box so that we can answer it for you. A few questions were asked during this session, and we thought we'll add it in the presentation and discuss it. So first, we've been asked by a viewer that how to add new customer in the environment and how to add them to OpManager MSP. Let's get back to our setup. You can do that by One second. You can go to settings. Under configuration, you'll find customers. You can add customers and probes here as we discussed in the session. And the second question is, can we add multiple probes to a single customer? Yes, we can do that. To do that, you can go to settings, configuration again, go to probe and add probes here. And the next question, how can our customers log into OpManager MSP? We have different role criteria such as customer administrator, customer operation. You can access that going to settings, user management under general settings. And our next final question is, can we generate a report specific to customer? Yes, we can do that as well. Go to reports and under OpManager MSP, you can select any report and filter for customer and choose the respective customer for whom you'd like to generate a report. A quick poll will be triggered now. We will be glad if you could take a moment and give us your feedback. Please give us your valuable feedback on Captra and help us spread the word about our Manager MSP. Also, you can drop your queries to this mail ID and follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube to know about our events and latest updates about our tools. On behalf of ManageEngine and team, I thank you all for your presence. Please do attend our upcoming session as well. Thank you.